Good morning, uh, my fellow survivors. My name is Roblin Francois. I was born October 23rd, 1964. Very healthy man, always, getting up in the morning, go for a run. I play professional soccer. I always active. I used to have that joke with my contemporaries that if I die young, when I get to heaven, I am going to be very critical of God because um, I've done everything that I was supposed to do on earth, being very nice, supportive, loving to my family, to my neighborhood, and to fellow folks I never met. And I have followed every single doctor's advice by eating healthy, no high sugary stuff, no salt, butter, or consuming, acting in any kind of behavioral situation that might jeopardize my good health. So, as far as I was concerned, turning, all the way to night, when I turned 55, I thought I was in great shape, never been in a hospital, never hospitalized, I should say. And I'm like, I might be ended up, living up to 100 years because I was in such a great health. Never had any kind of problem, whatsoever. And my biggest, illness would have been like back in the days when I used to drink heavily. I will wake up with some kind of headache because of consuming too much alcohol. But other than that, I never have any headache. I'm very, upbeat, and I live life the way that God had created me to be very happy and love myself and love people around me. And I don't just love my family. I think humanity in itself, I'm supposed to be in love with. So if you have not, uh, if this is the first time that you're going to hear from me and seeing my face, there is not a down day in my life. I'm a very spiritual person, and I take God's word to what it is, and I take myself as a serious child of God. And I'm like, if my father is a king, I'm a prince. So, prince can't be down, and this is my spirit. When you see me, you meet me, and you will be talking to me, you'll be like in heaven because my behavior is I speak like a prince. I think that my inheritance on earth is everything is belong to me. So that's the way that I look. This is me behaving and acting, spiritually and positively. This is and knowing that from a very early age, this is very good for your health. Not only I was very, athletic, uh, to be able to actually maintain a physical presence, but also spiritually, being recognizant of this universe I'm part in. I was supposed to contribute, whether it is me saying something or whether by my behavior somebody can pick up something from me. And I know that I have a lot of eyes on me, whether it is my children, uh, my family, my neighborhood, and folks who have not or who will never meet me, but I want them to actually capture some of my positive attitude and where they can actually be encouraged to understand if you really want to live a very good life and a very good spiritual life, you have to showcase your talent in terms of positivity. I dealt with a lot of blow in my life where I spent time, burying my mother, my father, my aunt, my sister in a period of like 10 months, and I would have, that can actually take a pretty big bite on you, but I still positive. I'm always laughing because I understand that, hey, God has done a lot of great things for me from a mental standpoint, being able to actually deal with a lot of difficult situations and to stay positive. Where it all started, it was September uh, 2020, September 9, 2020, when in the middle of the night, I felt a tremendous, chest pain. I couldn't imagine. I have never experienced anything like that. Playing soccer, you can really get knocked off, whether it's head injury, shoulder injury. I got ligament, ACL, you just name it. And, I broke my hand. All type of things can happen to you. And those things, if you, for anyone who is a professional, sport player having to go through a lot of injuries, you may be able to learn how to deal with pain. But that pain over my chest that September 9th, 2020 was something different. It was so painful, and I'm like, okay, I'm my 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 heart gonna give up because the pain was so hard. Waking up, I couldn't sit, I couldn't lay down, I couldn't stand. There was nothing working right. So having two leave in the house, I took two leave to see if I can have some relief. Over a period of time, the leave actually ended up giving me some relief, not taking the pain completely out. Stupid that I can be instead of calling emergency, and because I've learned how to deal with a lot of pain, not knowing that something was strange because, I'm very healthy. Why should I be thinking anything other? I'm like, this is like, something unusual, but it should not last that long if I can actually take two more leave later on, I'd be all just fine. But there was something, that keep on knocking on my head that says, man, you better check with your doctor to find out about this. So in the morning, instead of calling the emergency room at that time, so I waited until 8 o'clock in the morning to call my doctor and tell him what happened. It's like, hey, you should never, have tried what you just did. What you should be doing next at any time, you need to call the emergency room. So after finished talking to the doctor, I went to work, and by lunchtime, I'm like, you know what? Might be good to go ahead and check the emergency room because I'm like, okay, doctor say I should. And this is for the first time, I'm going through this pain. So I got to check out what that pain is all about. And unfortunately, I took my lunch break, went to the emergency room, thinking that, they just going to check me out, release me so I can finish my time at work. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to go back because it took longer at the emergency room where they were checking, and they take uh, you guys, for those of you who've been to emergency room, if you have some great doctors, they're going to check everything out. And when I say everything, everything, and they check everything, EKG, checks, chest X-rays, blood pressure, everything came out clean, man. And I don't ever forget about the doctor, Kevin, who says that, hey, you know what? Everything came out clean. I don't understand, but that chest pain. I want to make one last check. If this, if for some reason this check doesn't come up with anything, I'm going to let you go. And I remember the doctor uh, came out with tiny little pills and asked me to put it under my tongue. And he asked me to tell him when my head starts spinning. And as he was asking me that, my head was already start spinning. And the doctor said, ooh, then I found, it's like, okay, give me, toss out that pill. And it's like, oh, I know what it is. And they sent me for an MRI, and this is where the MRI resulted of a cancer I had, that's been running in my system, and it's been bleeding through my bones, and in the blood in itself has been covering my lungs. So when the X-ray was done, the doctor took a reading out of it and stated that, hey, you know what? This is, you are having lung cancer. We have people here at the hospital. That was at Frederick Hospital in Pleasant Prairie, where I lived. And, or you can choose your own doctor. Oh, that was like, that was news. For someone who fought, in some wars before, I'm like, I'm not afraid of bad news because I'm trained to actually, when somebody tells me something is bad, so I can quickly, just like figure out exactly what needs to be done next. Then I'm like, all right, uh, because dying, one of the things that actually I maybe that keeps me alive is just like I'm never afraid of dying because I believe that once anyone is born, the next day you're subject to die. So there is no uh, going forward. And so you can die any day, any time. So I'm like, all right, then if I'm not going to, if today is not my day to die, then I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it with vigor. I'm going to fight it with everything possible. Having some friends who has been through a lot of cancer and they were survivors who explained to me the best way forward if you ever had to be, or if you ever find yourself on a path of cancer. They were suggesting some great way to approach it. And like you're going to need the best two teams in the world. You're going to need your family, and you're going to need great medical oncologists with the nurses and everything else. And so those thoughts came back to me. I'm like, all right. So all I need is two great teams. I'm going to need my family. I'm going to need the best possible place to go to where the oncologists, the nurses they will be great at what they do, and we will fight together. It just so happened, my ex-fiance that I was with at that time, when we went over her mother's house, her mother suggested that I call, City of Hope. Uh, And I'm like, why City of Hope? Since my oncologist at that time was a doctor who practiced at Vista Hospital. And he said to me that my sister and my brother, they had cancer. They went to City of Hope. They're still alive. I strongly recommend it. You should try to reach somebody over there. And well, I've been hearing the story about your ears not supposed to be longer than your head. The minute that I got that message, I call City of Hope. There was one of the best human being I could have, one of the best human being at the other end of of the telephone receptions. Her name is Allison, who picked up the phone, and I explained to Allison what happened to me, my diagnosis from Freighter Hospital, and I would like to see, some oncologists. How soon can I get there? And but having been in customer service my whole life, speaking with folks, I don't need to see your face to know if you are helpful or not, because your tone gonna determine the expected service I'm gonna receive. Uh, so when Allison picked up that phone and she calmly telling me that, well, I know this is very scary. And she said to me, I can tell you, if you come into City of Hope, we're gonna take care of you. And I'm gonna make an arrangement for you to actually get to see the doctor ASAP. And she was she was instrumental and so helpful. And I have to say, part of me being alive, it started with Allison. Because if she was not the type of counselor when I called to speak with me and telling me that I was going to be in great hands by coming to the City of Hope, there was no way I was going to actually be at City of Hope under the care of the medical staff. But Allison saved my life in so many ways. Now, having to prepare my first visit to the hospital, and when I get in at the lobby, the front desk was like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, everything is all set. I mean, the people know my purpose and they know what I'm here for. And so it was just like, I was overwhelmed. And this is something I wanted to say to folks who might want me, who's going to hear me later. Your front desk, your front people are everything. They part of the healing uh, to those folks that are coming at the hospital to, to find healing. And the front desk, their job is so tremendous. They're going to actually, their temperament, their facial recognition, their facial appearance the smile and everything else going to actually set the tone over the treatment that they will be receiving. And I think that's, the minute that I checked in and I'm like, man, this is great. This is great. I think I'm going to, and so I just checked in, got an appointment to see the lung cancer since I was the diagnosis from Frederick Hospital. And I checked, they sent me to the fourth floor to see the doctor. I forgot his name. Oh my God. For those of you who's been in the hospital for the last X amount of years, you probably will know the oncologist who was in charge of lung cancer. But my thank my thanks to him, I get into his office, looking at me, have conversation with me, uh, and it's like, okay, and when the first thing he says, you know what, Mr. Roblin, I've been doing this for a long time. If this is what they say based on diagnosis from Frederick, I can treat you. And that's very confident. That's healing. It's not when the doctor actually touch you or cut you off or do any kind of operation on you. The set of tone starting from the beginning, actually start the healing. And I can feel healing. I'm like, my healing is starting with what I'm hearing from the oncologist because he's saying that if this is what you got, I've been doing this for a long time. I can treat you, and that was hope. Calling City of Hope, that was hope. It was a doctor who practices what City of Hope is all about. He was giving me hope, and that's something. So uh, checking out is like, okay, we understand this is critical. We're not gonna stop. We got to go very fast, and I'm gonna set you in to come in 2 or 3 days. So we're gonna start this operate. We're gonna get you. I'm gonna get my operation teams ready. So we're gonna actually go into this long and we're gonna treat you. Uh, Coming back to actually getting all my body ready for the operation and everything like that. Doctor came in the room and is like, Roblin, I have good news and bad news. To me, I'm like, oh my God, my situation is so bad. Then I think that the doctor going to tell me that it's too bad. He's not going to be able to operate. Then c'est la vie. And doctor said, I I take another look at your diagnosis, and he brought some pictures for me. He's like, "This is your lung." I'm looking at it. You had I take a look inside of the lung. So your lung is actually not having any problem. Looking at your lung, your lung is very clean. You don't have any problem with your lungs at all, but you have a massive amount of blood that covers your lung. When they did the diagnosis at the hospital, they couldn't see that, and that's why they thought your lungs were the cause of what brings you here. But if it was the lung, I was going to take care of it. But because it's not the lung, it is a blood cancer. I'm not the hematologist for that, but my team, the hematologists, are here before they leave for the day. I'm going to quickly call to set up an appointment so they can come and see you and see how fast they can start acting on this for you. Since I was on the fourth floor and the inpatient, the outpatient, cancer cell was also on the fourth floor. immediately the nurses picked up the appointment, and I got and then Dr. A's and Dr. Ray Day was not, they didn't leave yet. And it was very late, and they decided to accept, one more patient. Oh my God. Did I meet my Savior? Uh, did I meet uh, the two best? And with with a team, I cannot talk. I cannot talk it. I don't know the adjective. I mean, the superlative, or I should use to describe incredible the team of nurses, the two doctors they had with them. When I get to that nursing section, I met Dr. A and Dr. Brady. I met, and Renifer. I never forget her name. That's my sweetheart. Uh, Diana, and I met Sarah. I met, Lori. There was two Lori. Oh my God! And immediately, Dr. A says, "I got to do a biopsy real quick to see where we go." So it was like no wasting time, and I, I'm repeating that because Renifer as a nurse, was her first day on the floor, and she had to actually start on me with a biopsy. Can you imagine that? So that's why Renifer and I, we are so connected, in terms of my nurse. He's almost like, I wouldn't call her a mom, but, I'm just like her little baby, firstborn, because that was me. She started her first biopsy, with me. And Lori, Lori's been there, but running for it, but that was her first. So that's why we connected this much. And Dr. A and Dr. Ray Day, when I started there, this guy, oh my God, that after the biopsy, I came in the next few days to get some results. And I remember meeting Dr. A and Dr. Ray Day and Lori and I forget one other super nurse name, but I don't want her to forget that I remember her. And we had a meeting, and they lay out, the circumstances, the level of my myeloma they found, and explained it to me how that will affect me, how it could have killed me. But again, Dr. Rede and Dr. A, they explained to me, we've been doing this for a while. We know how to do it. We will take care of you. So before any kind of shot, any pill were given to me, any things that could have been like, you know, they were going to actually give me a shot or any kind of intravenous. But what they say to me started my healing. We know how to do this. You get here at the right time. We will get you right. We will get you on your feet. That's the healing process. Nothing else I would have done it for me because by raising my psyche to let me know everything will be fine. And as a parent, when your child is, take a fall and start crying and you pick them up from the floor and you're looking at them as they are crying. And when you tell them, darling, everything's going to be fine. and immediately that child gonna feel, they're gonna actually, the crying gonna actually subside. And before you know it, there's a smile coming on their face because mom and dad let them know that the fall is nothing because they will be okay. And I think that is what I felt when the doctors, they say that to me, uh, that we know how to do this. We're going to get you to it. Everything else, my going through the process, it takes second. It was going to be a long battle. But what they say to me from the beginning, this is what kept me alive. And I'm not. This guy going to fight with me? They my team. Going back, this is what I said I needed. A good team. I want to be part of the good team. So I'm like, I have the medical team that is like a very good team. Remember what my friends been telling me. I need the medical team to be a good team. I'm like, man, seems like I'm having one best team now. I need the other team. So I take that message, and from that point on, we start going forward. Uh, with the with everything else that I have to go through, going, and I remember my treatment and everything else was through COVID time. You can imagine that I couldn't get anyone to come close to me, both in my house and also, at the hospital. It was a very tough time, but the doctors, they have, and the nurses, the hospital in itself, the chef, the restaurant, the pharmacy, the lab. I was following all these things. Everyone I encountered at City of Hope, uh, they were the best. And I say that with no reservation, they were the best. And that's the team I wanted. I've been part of this great team. We are fighting, and we are fighting. 5 years coming up, September 2020, September 2025, 5 years. Uh, it's not a celebration anymore. The excitement is so overwhelming. To remember the path. They're driving. They're coming to the hospital not feeling well. The team, my support system, some of them come and go. I lost my fiance and in that process because not everyone is that strong to help you go through help you take that long road. It's a long road. I lost some friends gone because they couldn't, come up and support anymore. But I ended up very much almost like being on my own, going through the last few years, dealing with this. My spirit is my spirit is high, and I am determined that I am gonna be well. I am gonna fight this. I'm being in it. I'm not, I don't give up on anything. When I'm in a fight, I gotta either die or I win. This is how I know how to fight. So cancer, I want to tell you, my multiple myeloma. And for those of you who have never declared a serious fight on your, no matter what type of cancer that you have, if you're fighting by yourself, uh, it's it's tough because cancer doesn't come with just the illness. The pressure that's going to put on your psyche, the amount of support you will need from friends, family, and your medical staff. I don't know how people do it, and I don't know, and there is anyone still alive with that those two teams being on your side, your family and your medical staff. I've been very blessed to have the best supporting family members. I live in Wisconsin by myself. I don't have family close. But when I had to go to my surgeries, my sister who lives in the Caribbean, she flew in to be with me and see my recovery for 3 months. I'm talking about a great sister. Not too many sisters will do that for their brother. But I'm like, uh, after my transplant, the kind of care that I needed, if I didn't have her with me in the house, I don't think I'll be still able to be here talking to you. You need that support. You need that love. You need that. You need that connection with your brothers, your neighbors, and your contemporaries. You need that because they got to pick you up. That's what team is. When a member of that team is down, the rest of them are supposed to pick them up. My family, my brothers and sisters, they live very far. They live in Florida, the Caribbean, New York. Nobody is close here. But when the situation is tough, they show up. I had to have surgery on my hip and also my back. They know I was going to be down. Another sister of mine came in December to help me out, to taking care of me, because they know when you're down, you got to have a part of the team to come in and show up for you, and they have been showing up. The city of hope is, I know, I am so glad to have been, alive and ready to celebrate life at City of Hope and see all of my fellow travelers, to come and meet me this next week to be with me, celebrating with me. And I'm ready to celebrate with all of you because we deserve to celebrate life. It's a long path. We're still on the path, but every once in a while we can take a minute or a day on the road and to actually celebrate, the path, the beginning of the path that we left behind, where we at. We can take count of how we get there, how we get to be where we are right now. Let's celebrate this moment. Let's join together and let's enjoy it. And with continued hope that we'll be able to overcome. We'll be able to win. Thank you.